this is Jonathan Davis. This is going to be my introductory video. What I'm really going to do in this video is obviously introduce myself and just tell you a little bit about my coaching program that I'm going to have with the site. The first thing to really know about me is that I've been playing poker for about 5 years now. Only serious for about a year and a half, if not a year. And 2 of those years were Hold'em, which is what I originally started with. No limit Hold'em, of course. And then the last 3 years have been exclusively dedicated for PLO. I recently just became a pro about 6 months ago, and that was mostly due to realizing that I had a full-time job basically at the time of Black Friday, as well as doing poker on the side and some coaching. And basically, once Black Friday hit, I decided, I was done with poker, never was going to dream of doing it again. And unfortunately, my full-time job, I realized that I had a lot of problems with some of the ethics in the industry that I was in. It was actually the insurance industry. So that was a humongous issue for me, and fortunately, I could seek counsel from one of my very good friends, and he basically told me that he asked me more or less was, why aren't you doing poker as a full-time job? Why aren't you doing all these things that you could be doing instead of, being miserable in your current full-time job? And I didn't really have an answer for him besides the fact, that Black Friday made things infinitely harder. And so basically, there were only 2 things he had to say. Well, one was a statement, one was a question. He said, okay, so basically it got hard and you gave up. And he said, so Jonathan, if you could put 100% effort that you put towards your insurance job, would you be successful? And I pretty much said, yeah, without even thinking. And so that was in November and last year, rather. And now it's, whatever month it is, it's April. A couple months down the road, I'm doing great with it. It's been one of the best life changes in my life. In addition to being a coach for this site, I also coach shark staking as well as instructor at Card Runner. So things could not be better. And for those of you that were kind of considering maybe I should take the leap of faith, if you're not a pro, it's kind of a hobby for you, but you might see yourself doing it. It's your passion. Go for it. I highly recommend it. It was best change in my life. But as far as what my coaching program details, it is completely customized to the player, and that can be done through a few different ways. The first session is usually a live sweat with 3 to 4 tables, and that really helps me to get to know your thought process, really get inside your head, and then from there, I can start to see the leaks. And the downside of that, though, is that, if we don't get into any interesting hands, and there are a bunch of, really simple, straightforward hands, there's not a whole lot of value in that. So then, if that doesn't really give me a good starting point, then we can start to look at a stat analysis, depending on how many hands you have in your poker tracker or Hold'em manager database. And from there, then it's really systematically tackling each leak at a time, depending on the player. So it's really customized, and really what I try to teach above all, or coach rather, is having a thought process for every action, making sure that every action that you take, is going to be plus EV in the long run. You're not just making plays because you think it's right, or for another reason. It's if you're just clicking buttons, not even really thinking about what you're doing, not even thinking about your bet sizing, then you're no better than weaker players that we try to exploit this game that we call fish. So that's really my intro and a little bit about my coaching